I click the button. There we go. Hey, I'm T.A. Charlie, and welcome to the Road to Concord with Professor Joe YHWH. Homeroom is on Rumble. You just go to Rumble and search the channels for the Road to Concord. It's one word. When you find it, you go ahead and you click follow. It might mean you got to set up an account, but it's fast, it's easy, it's free. I did it, you can do it. For those technologically challenged members of the class, you can also catch us on Facebook and YouTube. After the show, it's uploaded to Podbean, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and BitChute. Just look for The Road to Concord. You can go to the blog page, that's theroadtoconcord.com. That's where you'll find all your show notes, study notes, and handouts for the class. The phone is working. If you don't know how to call in, email us and we'll think about it. Finally, you can email a professor at joe@theroadtoconcord.com. He's a little slow, but he'll eventually get around to emailing you back. This show is currently mainly listener-sponsored. If you are interested in advertising your business on the show, please email us. With that said, we ask for your participation on a value-for-value basis. If you find our show of value to you, then you provide an equivalent portion of your labor and treasure through the donate link on the Road to Concord blog page, the show description on Rumble, and in the comments on the other streams. And thank you to all of you who have and will support this show.
Good morning. Welcome to the Road to Concord. Today is Monday, March 30th, 2026. I am your host, Joe YHWH, and I'm in a bit of a mood today. But before we get going today, a word from what would have been our sponsor had I not taken over. Good morning, boys and girls. It is I, Dr. Evil. It's a long time no see. Mr. YHWH has been keeping me under wraps. He was going to let me teach this show today where I could show you that Hydra has been successful in taking over the free world and destroying the Judeo-Christian Western Kingdom. But no, Mr. YHWH would not let me do this. He grabbed me and beat me on the head. He threw on a yellow shirt. He started waving this flag with a snake in his ear. And he started saying something about field mouse as he pounded on my head. And no, there'll be no Hydra today. So anyhow, that was for Charlie. Natasha is screeching in AI. Everybody please ignore her. She owes me 24 donuts until she pays up. We're going to ignore the AI. So where's my donuts, Natasha? Donuts. I need donuts. Kind of like trash bags.
Have you checked your ear? Oh, wait, there's a snake in it.
Snake in my ear. Can't have donuts if I've got a snake in my ear. All right. I want to start with a little bit of stuff that I've been finding on the internet. But before I can do that, I've got to tell my computer that I need to share screens, which I had not done yet. So let's do this. Here's where we're going to start. Now, we already know that we're at war with Mexico. For all practical purposes, the cartels have owned our southern border for a long time now. That is a godless, lawless group of people, and the Mexicans are not able to do anything about it. Mexican government, they don't care, blah, blah, blah. So the southern border has been left wide open by the enemies of the United States, and I'm talking about internal enemies of the United States, for a long time. And they've just let anybody come in there. And we know that we've got jihadis that have come in through the southern border. And we've got good reason to believe that we've had small tactical nuclear weapons who have come into the United States through ports and through the southern border. And that Obama was probably protecting them. But we were okay with the northern border, right? Well, not so much. This is a Gateway Pundit. It says Canadian Liberals pass anti-Christian bill that would criminalize quoting parts of the Bible in public. Say what? No, Joe, that can't possibly be. Well, yeah, it's now hate legislation to mention anything about what the Bible says about marriage or homosexuality or anything like that. So a buddy of mine looked it up. Here it is. There's the bill. You know, if you go read through it, this is that for Government of Canada. Bill C-9, an act to amend the criminal code, hate propaganda, hate crime, and access to religious or culture places. This is why you don't want quote unquote hate crimes, because they'll just, once you get the law in, you're rah, 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 we got a hate crime. And then they change the definition of hate. How progressive of you. Progressive just means lawless. How lawless of you. Okay, well, Canada now is gone and joined the British, where you can't talk about the Bible, and it's joined Europe, where you can't talk about the Bible. So the Judeo-Christian world, the rot, the poison that started with secular humanism and then embraced Islam and welcomed it in, thinking, well, we'll just use these goat herders' money to take over the Western world. Oops, the goat herders are going to take over us. And we have to start giving them what they want, or they'll kill us first. And oh, crap. Europe's in trouble. And England's is going down. And now Canada wants to join them because New Zealand and Australia is already in the game. And now the cancer is infecting the United States. But you can't talk about any of all of that because then it's Islamophobic. I ain't afraid of Muslims. I was a Marine. I ain't afraid of Muslims. I just arrange for meetings. I'm a glorified secretary. Another one out of the Gateway Pundit. Canada is out of control. Woman with back pain goes to the hospital, is horrified as the doctor offers assisted suicide. By definition, there is no such thing as assisted suicide. That's called murder. As soon as you assist in killing somebody, it's called murder. State-sponsored murder. Oh, wait a minute. That's called the Holocaust. Ooh, can't be doing this, Joe. You're calling the Canadians Nazis. No, they could be good communists too. Both ideologies like to kill their people when they become inconvenient to the ruling class. But this is Canada, and it's getting bad because it's not just Canada. Globalist state sanctions suicide. Spain to euthanize a 25-year-old gang rape victim abandoned in the migrant-filled juvenile center. And they did. They killed her. Why? Because she'd been raped so many times, they decided that, well, she's never going to have a good life. She's traumatized, so let's just kill her. And that's exactly what they did. And that's in this story here from the Gateway Pundit. Hispanics, this Catholic Church erupts after the euthanasia death of Noelia Castillo and delivers its harshest criticism in years. They just killed her because she got raped. Why'd she get raped? Because they invited all the Muslims into their country and wouldn't do anything about controlling those people. So she get raped. Couldn't be protected. The government euthanized her because of its own. So Allie Beth Stuckey, she's shocked. Good Morning America endorses young adult novel with occultism, threesomes, and necrophilia. So this cancer, this corruption, is not just in the rest of the free world. It's in the United States, too. I mean, the Good Morning, this is a quote-unquote young adult novel with the occult, threesomes, necrophilia. And it's all a good thing on modern media, right? Well, that's okay. We don't have any problems here, Joe. Let's look. WorldNet Daily. Disturbing to say the least. State advances a bill to turn dead humans into actual fertilizer. Essentially turning up and baking human bodies into soil. We are absolutely moving in the wrong direction. This is Oklahoma State. Oklahoma. It's supposed to be part of the Bible Belt. Central good old rah, rah, rah America. What the frack, Jack? What's going on with our world? Don't worry about it, Joe. The Republicans will save us. From the Blaze Media, after Rush Limbaugh, conservatives stopped listening together. What? They stopped listening to conservative media. This is going to get in part to what we're going to talk about in the second half hour. This is modern feed rewards novelty, outrage, and speed. Rush won with reputation, discipline, and a steady voice. That formula depends on an audience willing to show up. Okay, I've got my problems with Rush Limbaugh, but Peter Rosenberg is right about this part. At least he kept a coalition together that would acknowledge a centralizing voice or authority or direction. and they unified around a common ideal or ideology. And that's how Rush did it. He kept repeating the same mantras over and over again. People accepted the ideal, the core principles, and it made a political body that could actually get a few things done. This is how you got the contract with America under Gingrich. You could force the state to do certain things for yourself. Now, I do not think Rush was actually a classic liberal like our founding fathers. He was a modern conservative, and that's a problem with that. That's Ronald Reagan big camp conservatism. And that's what this is. This is also The Blaze, the case against principled conservatism by Michael Calkin. Says the old guard of the Republican Party is not interested in saving the country. Never was. Never was. Don't forget, the blue bloods of the Republican Party since Teddy Roosevelt are progressives. Teddy, that great conservative. No, he isn't. Teddy said he doesn't have any problem with you earning all the money in the world you can earn, so long as you do what he thinks you're supposed to do with it. That's a fascist. That's a fascist. And he did say that. He used different words, but it was very close to that. So long as you use it to the benefit of mankind, as he decides whether or not. And if you're not, then he's got every right in the world to come in and do what he wants with your business. That's fascism. That's like Barack Obama and George W. Bush both did to the insurance industry and the audio industry. You're not doing what we said you're supposed to do, so we're going to destroy capitalism to save capitalism. No, you're just freaking fascists. That's what you've always been. Wilson, he was fascistic, but he wanted communism. Well, Joe, fascism and communism are different things. Yeah, they both, one believes in borders, the other doesn't. One will let you run the business as long as you do what they want you to do. In other words, you're just a government slave running that business, in which case they let you pretend to own it until such time as you don't do things the way they want you to do. And then, like Barack Obama does, steps in and just steals it, does what he wants with it, hands it back to you and says, now do what I tell you to do. Otherwise, it's going to get worse next time. George H.W. Bush did that with the insurance industry. Communists don't believe in any borders. The difference between a fascist and communist is a fascist is content with his little piece of the pie, whatever country or kingdom he's in. Communist wants the whole freaking world. Otherwise, they're about the same things. No, they're not, Joe. Well, Hitler said they were. No, he didn't. Yes, he did. And I'm not even going to give you the dadgum quotes because it won't do any good. You're either going to go find out for yourself that he did say there's very little difference between the socialists and the communists. Hitler was a fascist. He wasn't a socialist, Joe. Fascist? Yeah, Nazi. National Workers Socialist Party. Socialist. Fascism and communism are different forms of socialism. Yeah. You got a problem with that? Go talk to the men who coined the term, not me. See, that's part of the problem. I don't agree with you, Joe. That's right. You can't agree with anything. That's why one of the biggest reasons our country's falling apart. Blaze Media. Level of mistrust runs too deep. This is Aaron McIntyre warning to establishment conservatives. He's talking about McIntyre warns that conservative voices are following the same censorship instincts they once condemned. Well, yeah, that's because they're progressives. They always have been. The Republican Conservative Party has always been progressive. What happened when Rush died is they quit putting the mask on. Rush forced them. He put the mask on to the Progressive Party for them. Well, Rush didn't. Yes, he did. When he said country club blue blood Republicans, he was talking about progressive Republicans, fascist / communist. He knew what he was saying, but he was there to keep the mask on the party so that conservatives would stay on the Republican reservation. Now that they're not, the conservatives that still belong to the Republicans are doing, rah, rah, go Trump, Cheeto Jesus saves. Those who were actually liberals, classic liberals, like our founding fathers, not liberal like Woodrow Wilson, they did what good libertarians always do as soon as they don't have a master. Boom! Cats scattered in all directions. Which is why you're never going to have a libertarian movement. Because the difference between a libertarian and a communist, and I mean straight up communist or a totalitarian fascist, is that libertarians don't coalesce into a group that you can make a communist or fascist nation out of. They coalesce into, if you got 100 libertarians, you have 100 little libertarian states. Sovereign citizen. So they're kings over themselves. The only difference between the libertarian and the communist fascist is that the libertarian is at least nominally willing to leave you be. You let him be, he'll leave you be. Well, that's anarchy, Joe. Anarchy is nothing more than the tyranny of the individual. So you don't really have a linear political spectrum. It's a circle. It's a curve. At least if you're thinking about form and function. So what this is mistrust is too deep. We're not going to be able to do anything. People don't trust you, Republicans. Why? Well, things like this. They are shredding everything. Prison officer alerts FBI after massive bags of documents shredded at Epstein's jail days after his death. Gateway pundit. What does the FBI care? They're the ones busy trying to hide everything. Wait, what happened to the Epstein story, boys and girls? Where'd that go? Oh, Iran, Joe. Iran. I was promised that there were going to be arrests over Epstein. Trump lied. Remember what he said? Oh, come on, get over it. That doesn't matter anymore. That was just a campaign promise. No, he didn't say that. Yeah, pretty much did. Yep. And he said that if we're still worried about putting pedophiles and people who use honeypot traps with children to gain political power over corporate executives and politicians and world leaders and things like this, if we want them held accountable, Trump said we basically were worried about nothing. See, I've been vindicated. I wasn't part of that. We can move on now. No, I don't trust you, Donald. Not anymore. But wait, we can trust him for this. Again, the Gateway pundit. Newly released documents reveal judges Beryl Howell and Boasberg secretly worked with Jack Smith to bring charges against President Trump. That's an actual coup. That's an actual coup because we now know those charges were just trumped up. So, hey, Donald, why haven't you put any of these people in jail? Because that's that judge that keeps subverting all of your orders. Why no jail? Why no jail for Russiagate? You said you were going to go get them. Oh, that's right. J.D. Vance is going to go get the corrupt people. Yeah. No, he's going to use, we're going to hunt corruption for the next 50 bazillion years to get me elected. Until that don't work, then we'll find something else. Epstein didn't work. We got that done. That got us elected. So we don't need Epstein anymore. Russiagate. Well, we're elected. We don't need that anymore. Now we need corruption. Well, J.D. Vance is different, Joe. No, he isn't. He's a Republican. He's the right wing of the secular humanist bird. He's not a secular humanist. He's a Christian. So why does he admit that he mixes Hinduism in with his Christianity? That's called syncretism. God says he abhors that. He hates it just as much as homosexuality. What? Yep. It's not my Bible. Well, then you're reading a different Bible, because it sure as heck is in mine. Not to worry. We got this one from Blaze Media. Blaze TV COVID dossier. The cover-up ends with a bang. The lab leak evidence they tried to bury. This is a expose that's been done by the Blaze. But that brings up a good question. Okay, Epstein was about pedophiles. Well, that's just pedophiles. And then we have Russiagate. That's about a coup against the president of the United States. Still nothing done about that. COVID was an attempt to murder the world. Why is what's his name? Not Epstein, but Fauci still running around free? Why isn't he in jail? Why aren't people in jail over the COVID jabs? Trump? Hey, Donald! McFly! Oh, that's right. Iran, Joe. Iran. Yeah. I've fallen for that a few 24 many times. I'm not doing it anymore. Because things like this, White House offers concessions to end the DHS shutdown, but Dems still choose illegal aliens over unpaid American TSA agents. It's the Democrats, Joe. See? No, it isn't. The House and the Senate are both controlled by Republicans. They can do this. No, the filibuster, Joe, you don't even have to end it. Filibuster, if you have a non-standing filibuster, it's not a filibuster. So what you're saying is we're not going to force them to stand up and run their yaps all day until they kill this bill. Why? Because the Republicans don't want to sit in there and listen to them drone on until they get tired, yield their time, and then they can actually pass the bill. They don't want to do their job. This is the Republican Party intentionally offering concessions, meaning, hey, Democrats will give you everything you want if you'll just pass the bill, in a way that makes us look like we did something. And the Democrats say, not this time. We smell blood in the water. The left wing is going to take over the whole bird. and flap with one wing because we want a one visible party system. We don't want to have to play this two game anymore. Tired of it. So what happens? Oh, it's the Democrats' fault. We're all going to go on vacation now. It's not the Democrats' fault. It's the Republicans' fault. And you want more majority. Well, yeah, Joe, until you give us 100% of both houses. You know what? You can have 150% of both houses Republicans. You would still find a way to vote Democrat. Without a Democrat anywhere in Washington, D.C., you'd still do it. But that's okay. Iran, Joe. Oh, wait a minute. Better than Iran. I can do anything I want with it. Trump confirms he's eyeing another country for taking over. I'm not a king. You sure act like one there, Donnie. You just running around doing all sorts of things without congressional approval. That's one of the reasons that the Democrats are probably going to clean the Republicans' noses in the midterms. Because you can say no kings, but you're acting like a king. You are. Venezuela, just walk in there and steal a president. A rightful president. I don't care if he was falsely elected. I don't give a rat's rip. You kidnapped the leader of another country. That's an act of war. You didn't get a declaration of war. You're bombing and killing. Oh, by the way, without a declaration of war, when you killed the leadership of Iran, you broke U.S. law. I want Trump impeached for that. You're going to give everything to the Democrats. The Democrats already own the country, you moron. I want to follow the law. Well, Joe, you're just pipe dreaming. Maybe this is why I don't trust the Republican Party. Video, Trump says he'll have the honor of taking Cuba. Whether I free it, take it, I think I can do anything I want with it. That's okay. He's going to earn his way into heaven, even though he's never done anything he needs to repent from. Remember that, boys and girls. Cheeto Jesus. It's going to save us. Glad I'm done with that. Let's go on to a happier subject. Shocker. Gateway Pundit. Shocker. Democrats openly admit helping illegal aliens are their top priority. That's called treason. That's the definition of treason. Illegal aliens. You have now violated your oath of office to the Constitution. And you are supporting people who have no intention of adopting this country. They've come to subvert this country. They're stealing us blind. They're using our own system of government against us. The Democratic side is openly helping them. That is war on the United States of America, the system of government. I don't know why my generation, who still, we say, my oath has not expired, then why haven't I picked up my rifle and gone hunting Democrats? That's because I can't do that without righteous government, a duly elected or established government leading me into doing that. Then I would be in violation of following the law. My oath says I have to be under civilian authority. We don't have a single civilian authority anywhere in this country that's pointing any of this out, let alone wanting to do anything about it. I want a divorce. DeSantis. Secede. Declare Florida independent and free of this lawless. Can't say all these words. I'll get censored. Next one. Not the B. New Jersey governor signs law to make Jersey a sanctuary state for criminal aliens. She can legally be arrested by Cheeto Jesus, but he won't do that. Iran, Joe! I gotta take Cuba. Why should I be worried about what the Democrats are doing? Just give me some more Republicans that aren't rhinos. No such thing. There are no such thing as Republicans that aren't Republicans. Well, they're just Republicans in name only. No, they're still Republicans. They're Republicans. And the party has now gone full evil. I'll tell you, there are no good Nazis. I don't think there are good Democrats. I'm beginning to think there are no good Republicans left. Oh, Joe, I'm done watching you. Good riddance. Goodbye. If your party is more important to you than the actual content of what I'm telling you, go. I don't want to count you amongst the Americans that are left in this world. I am an American with a K. Form and function. Principles don't adhere to party. Washington tried to tell you that. I'm with Franklin. Where liberty dwells, there's my country. Liberty don't dwell here no more. Not when we got governors doing this. The Constitution says that you will be guaranteed a Republican form of government. Not Republican Party, representative of every citizen in your state. She is representing illegals over the citizens. That is a violation of the Constitution. The President of the United States has the legal right to arrest her. And if the court say you can't do that, you arrest that judge. Because that is an executive-only duty in the Constitution. I've read the Constitution. I've quoted this to you here on this show before. Where are you, Cheeto Jesus? Oh, I got to work out a deal, Joe. A deal that's favorable to me, makes me look good. Gateway Pundit. Los Angeles Times columnist says, if a Republican wins the race for governor of California, a recall will begin immediately. Oh, wait a minute. I thought the Democrats love democracy. Well, like all good communists, they only like democracy when they're winning. If somebody else actually wins, off with their heads. Because you see, they don't want kings. They want communists. Communists can't have a king. Also from the Gateway Pundit, Republican theater exposed that Democrats make it clear they are coming for us. What? Oh, yeah, the Democrats are saying they're coming for you Republicans. They want one-party rule. Nobody wants to honor the threat. Breitbart, Illinois Governor Pritzker, Trump officials who, quote unquote, broke the law must be criminally prosecuted. What did they do? They went after the illegal aliens. Oh my God, what law did they break? State laws that said you can't do that. Supremacy clause, that state law is unconstitutional, which means Pritzker is in violation of his oaths and is conducting sedition and subversion against the United States of America, which is collectively defined as war against the governing system of this country. He's a traitor. Right there. Traitor. Stretch his neck with a rope. Do it publicly on the steps of his governor building. Try him first, but his words convict him. And if you don't convict him, I want a directed verdict. We're going to use Scalia in absentia as the judge. Well, Joe, that's just going to guarantee a guilty verdict because he is guilty. Not that we care about that anymore. Report, Gateway Pundit, Democrats already plotting investigations of companies, colleges, and law firms for working with Trump. That's not kings, folks. That's commies. You can't have kings because they're fascists, but we'll just go with straight up commies. And we will punish our political enemies. Something Trump promised us he was going to do. Not political enemies, people who actually broke the freaking U.S. law. Nobody arrested yet. And then Dan Bongino, when somebody says, hey, Dan, why didn't you do it? And he blows up like some self-righteous hypocrite. I will no longer listen to Dan Bongino. You lied to me, Dan. For over 2 or 3 years, you straight-faced in the camera, gave me your little knife hand, and lied. Don't want to hear it, Dan. I don't trust you anymore. You're just part of the deep state. Well, I quit because then run your mouth and tell us what happened. Oh, well, then I could die. Wah. Poor little baby. Gateway Pundit. No post-presidential peace. The New Republic pushes plan to send Trump and his officials to The Hague. For what? Well, because he's not doing what we tell him to do. Well, I thought that elections had consequences. So long as you, well, you know, whatever. Gateway Pundit. Tim Walz trashes Trump, pledges his allegiance to Somalia Minnesotans in shock, no king speech. In shocking, no, folks, he just pledged his allegiance to a foreign country. The Constitution literally defines that as treason. Why is he not in jail? Why hasn't he been tried yet? Why is he not swinging from a rope? That's the crime. That's the penalty for treason. This is treason. This is treason. If Trump will not treat this as treason, DeSantis, secede from the Union. It no longer represents the American people or the Constitution. Cheeto Jesus is a traitor. He's giving aid and comfort to people who are openly telling us their allegiance is to an Islamic country in Africa. And he's stealing U.S. money and sending it to them to fund them after he takes his skim off the top. Gateway Pundit. Never forget, Ilhan Omar's father was top propaganda official in the genocidal Somalian Bear regime. Then he changed his and her name, entered the U.S. illegally. She did marry her brother, committed fraud to become a citizen, which means you're not a citizen if you committed fraud. That's on your papers. If you lied, you're no longer a citizen. And now they might kick her out of Congress. She's a traitor. And Waltz is supporting her. That's treason. Finally, don't worry. We're going to elect our way out of this. USPS postmarks now stamped 1 to 2 days after the USPS takes possession. 40% of the population affected, mostly Republican areas, which means that if you mail your ballot on time, they'll postmark it 2 days later so that your ballot won't count in the Republican areas. But we will accept your ballot up to a week to 10 days later without a postmark in the blue states. Because after all, I don't care who you vote for, as long as I'm the one counting the ballots. And if I'm short on election night, well, then I will just shut down the counting. And we'll come back in the morning, and lo and behold, I will have won by 20, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 votes. And if you question that, well, that's an insurrection, and I can put you in jail without trial, which is a violation of the Constitution. And then you tell me that the Constitution's still in place. I want a divorce! We're going to take a bottom of the hour break. When we come back, it gets worse. It gets worse. But during the break, I'm feeling like this today.
Gentlemen, there is no longer any ground for hope. If we wish to be free, if we wish to preserve inviolate those inestimable privileges which belong to us as free men, if we mean not basely to abandon the noble struggle in which we have been so long engaged, in which we have pledged ourselves never to abandon until the glorious object of our struggle be obtained, then we must fight. I repeat it, sir. We must fight! And appeal to arms and to the God of hosts is all we have left us.
Arms, Mr. Henry! What arms? We're weak, sir!
They tell us, sir, that we are weak, unable to cope with so powerful an adversary. But when shall we be stronger? Will it be the next week? Or the next year? Will it be when we are totally disarmed and a British Guard shall be stationed in every house? Shall we acquire the means of effectual resistance by lying supinely on our backs, hugging the delusive phantom of hope until our enemy hath bound us hand and foot? Sir, we are not weak if we make a proper use of those means the God of nature hath placed in our power. 3 millions of people, armed in the holy cause of liberty, and in such a country that which we possess, are invincible by any force our enemy can send against us. Besides, sir, we shall not fight our battles alone. There is a just God who presides over the destinies of nations, who will raise up friends to fight our battles for us. The battle, sir, is not to the strong alone. It is to the vigilant, the active, the brave. Besides, sirs, we have no election. Should we be base enough to desire it, late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat, but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged, their clanking may be heard upon the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat it, sir, let it come!
Mr. Henry, we speak for peace, sir!
It is in vain to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale that blows from the north shall bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it that they wish? What would they have? Is life so dear? Or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God! I know not what course others may take. But as for me, give me liberty or give me death!
To arms! To arms, Mr. Henry!
Joe, are you there? You're muted if you are.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can't see
All
you,
right.
but I can hear you.
I'm going to have to refresh my screen. I know we're over the target. My computer died in the middle of that. I mean, it just rebooted itself entirely because it knows where I'm going next.
Oh, my.
Well, the enemy knows where I'm going.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. Wait for it. Wait
Sing and
for
dance.
it.
I'll be right back.
What's coming up, guys? Joe asked me last night to get a clip for him off of Rumble. And oh my, when you hear this, you are, oh man, this is bad.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got to reset everything.
You got the wrong mic set up. So check your mic settings. And I know you've got to reset the video.
Are we better now?
Hold on with this. Yes, that's better. And we got to get the video reloaded.
I'll reload that in a moment because as soon as I do it, it'll pop up and start playing. I'll get that when we're ready for it. I need to set the stage first. So let's just go back here, folks. You'll see where we're going with this. Blaze Media. Why America's enemies always target Western civilization first. Says if the United States wants to endure beyond President Trump's current term, it needs to recover a healthy pride in its Western inheritance and shape immigration policy with a reality in mind. The reason you can't do that is twofold. One, slavery. Two, skin color. But the problem is that the common conception in the American people right now about that slavery and skin color, it has been distorted to the point of being a falsehood. None other than Thomas Sowell has pointed out, if you are going to pay reparations for slavery, this is going to get complicated real quick because it's going to go back eventually to Africa, who still conducts slavery to this day. Wrong skin color, right? So we can't do that. This isn't about skin color. It's been framed that way, but it is not about skin color. It's about religion. Or better yet, it's about who is and isn't the one true God and maker of the universe. Tucker Carlson, Gateway Pundit. Tucker Carlson, throughout the Western civilization, the Netanyahu government is now a crime punishable by imprisonment. And Tucker's happy with this. Netanyahu government? Yeah, Zionism. Tucker claims to be a Christian, and he's got a problem with Zionism. Hold on to that, because I am ashamed I ever listened to Tucker Carlson on anything. I'm going to share a video with you in a little bit, just a few minutes. He is so wrong as just hold on. And then the Blaze Media. Joe Kent resigns from Trump admin, says Israel forced U.S. into Iran conflict. More anti-Israelism. It's not anti-Semitism. This is anti-Zionism. This is anti-Yahweh. From the Gateway Pundit. Shockingly low share of Americans have a biblical worldview, new survey claims. That's the problem. You're claiming to be a Christian, but you don't even know what the Bible says. And the people who are explaining to you, by and most part, by and far, by and large, they don't know it either. Finally, from the Gateway Pundit, says squad endorsed New Jersey congressional candidate claims Jesus was a democratic socialist and toilets are socialism. Jesus was a communist, because that's what democratic socialist means. He was a communist. Really? Yahweh invented personal property. Yahweh invented borders and national governments. All these things that are against communism. It was the God of the Bible, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who did all those things. See, these people don't know the Bible. Okay. Told you we were going to do something here. We're going to listen to Tucker. And this is thanks to Charlie for doing this video clip.
Travel so much that I see it.
Hold on.
There's
Let me pause this. Make sure this is turned up as loud as it'll go. All right, y'all ready? We're going to listen to it. Then I'm going to come back and replay it step by step where I start and stop it. I've got some comments to this. If this doesn't bother you in your soul, I mean to your core, if this doesn't make the Holy Spirit and you scream, you are on the wrong program.
I travel so much that I see it. There's not a single Western city that's thriving. And they're all degrading in exactly the same way.
Is a lot of it just a moral decay, or is it actually true from everything?
It's a lot of things, but it's self-hatred. Every city.
Crazy.
Every European city, every American city, it's just what people lose their will to live, their will to pass on their culture, their values, their religion to their children, their will to have children. It's all gone. I mean, it's not gone with everybody, but I mean, in the cities, you really see it. It's like the people who built this are long gone, and their descendants have fled, and they don't care enough to keep it going. There's just a lack of self-respect that is disgusting to me, and I have contempt for it. It doesn't bother me to be hated. What really bothers me is when people hate themselves. If you hate if you hate yourself, how are you going to treat me?
That's correct.
Oh man, I don't like it. So I notice it because I travel outside the Western world, the white world. I'll just be honest, the white world.
Right.
I travel a lot in the Middle East. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm not Muslim, obviously. In fact, I'm like a Christian, flat out Christian. And my ancestors are from Europe. And so I have nothing in common on that level with the Gulf. But you go to the Gulf and it's incredible to be in a place that has pride in itself, that believes in its religion and culture, that thinks we're onto something. And this is great. Look at what we're doing. We're really proud of this. Those people are happy. They're welcoming of others. They're tolerant of diversity. Like we always talk about tolerant of diversity. There's none of that here. Are you kidding? All the whites, we love black people. Then they run and move to Bozeman because there are no black people.
Absolutely. Send their kid to the...
They hate diversity.
They hate it.
And our version of it isn't working at all. At all. So, but you go to a country like Japan or the Emirates or Qatar or Saudi Arabia, and you see that when people are self-confident, when they're really pleased with what they're doing and they believe that their system is the right system, that self-confidence results in a kind of welcoming attitude. So you'll be sitting at dinner in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and you'll say, you know, I'm really kind of pro-Jesus, like I'm a Christian. They'll be like, oh, that's so great.
And they don't have the same.
Well, they mean it.
And they don't have the same belief.
No, they're
in some
Muslims.
cases. They're Muslims.
It's a country
yeah.
governed by Sharia law.
Right.
I mean, and they're like, that's great.
Good for you. Yeah.
It's great. And you notice like in ISIS or Al-Qaeda or like the Muslim extremists, they're all from like collapsed, pathetic societies dominated by colonial powers. They've been degraded, and that's why they're so angry. Right? So there's something about being degraded that turns you into a violent nutcase extremist. You're seeing a lot of violent nutcase extremists in our country. Not surprising, because the country's being degraded.
Correct.
So in a country with self-confidence, people are tolerant and open-minded and happy. And in a country where people are told to hate themselves, they start to hate others. Duh. This is all like very obvious, but I only know that because I've traveled a lot. And I am naturally open-minded. Like, just because you don't do it my way doesn't mean it's bad. Like, I really feel that way, where they're into things that I'm not into, like, I don't know, polygamy or Islam. And I can sort of look at it and be like, no one's forcing this on me. I'm not mad at you for being a polygamist. I think it's really hard. But whatever, leaving that aside, but I can go to a place like that and I don't feel like I need to judge everybody on their local customs. I just don't feel that need. But in the process of doing that, like you get perspective on your own society, and the core problem is a loss of faith in our people, in our values, in our religion. You just don't believe anything. I don't care what you tell me. Like, I'm noticing that New York City has people shitting on the sidewalk or having sex in ATM vestibules, and people are dying of drug ODs on the street in their carjackings. You're telling me it's thriving. I was just there. It's not. Like, I don't care what stats you throw. Well, according to the American Academy of Bullshit, it's actually the best it's ever been. Really? I was there last week. It's not. All I'm saying is let's treat the people who run the banks, the people who are getting rich from usury, like the criminals they are, and make them suffer, because that's totally fair. If you exploit and destroy people, you're not a good person, and we should just say that. And I think we should start by getting collective action. Everybody who's deep in credit card debt, I don't care what your race, would be actually a way to unify the country. We're just going to have this month, we're all going to get together, and we're not going to pay our credit card bill.
That would be amazing.
Bitch? What are you going to do about it? But your average person can't do that. So why don't we all get together and do that? You know what would happen if we did that? I'd be assassinated immediately just for saying that.
All right. We're going to replay this in just a minute. Before I do that, this came from the Steve Day show. You really should consider going and watching the second hour. I put the link in the show. I put it at the bottom of the Rumble comments. You should consider going and watching the second hour of Steve's show. You should hear his comments to this. Oh boy. Steve unloads on Tucker. But in my opinion, not heavily enough. Okay. We're going to probably go a little long today. We're going to go past the top of the hour. I'm going to go through this. This needs to be addressed. Boy, is there a problem here. Number one, before we even get going, Tucker Carlson. I'm open-minded. I'm tolerant. That is exactly what's caused the problem that you're addressing, Tucker. Open-minded tolerance. Tolerance is the last bastion of a dead and decaying society. It's the last virtue of a society that has not crumbled yet. It's a dead man walking. A society that holds to its virtues like you claim, you're implying you want them to do, does not tolerate certain things, the things that you're talking about. So the idea that all of this has come about because of hatred for self, where'd that come from, Tucker? Where did that come from? All right, we're going to do the start and stop. This is going to happen a lot, so just be ready for this. I want to get my 2 cents in here with this.
I travel so much that I see it. There's not a single Western city that's thriving.
All right, that's a lie. Now, he's going to say that by certain standards, and he's going to call those government things BS. He's mostly thinking about major cities, blue run cities, Detroit, LA, DC, New York, et cetera, et cetera. He's right there. But did he point out why they're not run well? Because they're run by a certain ideology. Now, he's going to also mix in skin color here. He's basically implying that white man has ruined the world. To an extent, he's correct. But there's a division here. It's Esau and Jacob. And this is something that he doesn't understand because he's not a Christian. Well, he can call himself a Christian. He is not a follower of the way, and he does not know the Bible or the faith that the Messiah taught us to follow. A lot of Christians are going to believe this man because they're Christian. They're not of the way. And those are two different things, folks. But Esau and Jacob are going to look a lot alike. Same mommy, same daddy. Okay? They're twins. They're going to have the same physical appearance. But one of them is going to be godless, what we would think of as secular humanist. And the other one is going to be faithful to Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the creator of the world. And they are going to be side by side everywhere we go. And the Moabs, not Moabs, the Edomites, the Esau, he's going to have a tendency to ruin everything he touches because he's like Cain. He's godless. He relies on himself. He's materialistic. So the things Tucker is complaining about here, they're all being done by people who look like him, but who adhere to, for lack of a better way to put this, catch-all phrase, term, secular humanism. A godless worldview. And that's what's causing this. But there are cities in this country that are governed properly, and they are doing well, and they are growing by any metric, Tucker. So you lied. No, you're not deceived. No, you didn't misspeak. You ran your gator before doing the homework, and you lied to people to push your opinion here, which is now an agenda. Okay, you're pushing an agenda, Tucker. And I'd tell you this to your face on national TV that everybody in the world is watching. You're pushing a lie. Now, Steve Deace will allow that you might be deceived, and you may be. But I don't care whether you know what you're doing or you're deceived. You have an unclean spirit's hand up your backside. So you can claim to be a Christian all you want. You are not speaking the Messiah's teachings. Starting out right here, no cities are doing well. Nowhere in the whole Western world. That is demonstrably false. And he doesn't mean that as a hyperbole. He will go on and stress none. That's a falsehood. That's a lie.
And they're all degrading in exactly the same way.
Is a lot of it just a moral decay, or is it actually true from everything?
It's a lot of things, but it's self-hatred.
All right. Who taught this self-hatred? Our school system primarily. But it's still, again, it's Esau's mindset. I have to destroy the moral fabric of the person walking in faith with the Messiah. I have to destroy the Judeo-Christian walk. Now, I don't mean religion. I mean the core principles that the Bible teaches us. Those who are trying to stay faithful to the tenets of those commandments, those teachings, those principles, to the Torah, he's got to destroy that. So these people destroy everything about it that undermines your personal perspective of yourself, your pride in yourself at first. And in the process, they teach you that, oh, well, we're going to bring up your self-worth. We're going to help your esteem while they're destroying it. They destroy in the name of peace and helping you. They do the opposite of what they say they're going to do. And Tucker never points that out. He doesn't. He sidesteps this. He makes it sound like it's the entire Western world. And he throws in that white people, but he never throws in any other colors. He just implies in the process, we'll see it in a minute, that everybody else is doing good except white people. I I got more to say when we get to that. Let's keep going.
Every city,
Crazy.
every European city, every American city. It's just white. People lose their will to live, their will to pass on their culture, their values, their religion to their children, their will to have children. It's all gone.
Why? Because they've been told for so long by one ideology in our society, especially the women, that you have to be like the men, be more powerful than the men. You got to take the place of the man. You don't need children. Children are a burden to you. You can't get your. They're changing the idea of what it meant to be the American dream. The American dream was dad and mom. Dad earned the money. Mom took care of the household. Everybody lived a modest life, a quiet, comfortable, Ozzie and Harriet type. That was the dream. That and the idea that if you worked hard, you can be successful and make it. It wasn't the idea that everybody would become a millionaire. That's a falsehood too. That was not the American dream. So we've had a different dream pushed on us. And it is the idea that everybody has to become a multimillionaire now and be famous on TikTok. That was pushed by one half of this country. And if you don't kowtow to it, the whole system has been invaded by people who will, quote unquote, cancel you. He has not addressed this. He's just pointing to the side that he's actually, now this, I don't know if he knows this or not. He's actually on their side. He's on that side. He is on the side of nihilism and destruction right here. He is. Why? Because he's not explaining any of this to you. He's not telling you how it happened. He's just blaming. He's complaining. There's no explanation or solution here. He should shut his yap. Go away. But no, he's got to get clicks. He is angling to take Charlie Kirk's place in the quote unquote Christian world or the right wing. He is angling to take over and become a leader. This is the last man that the vestiges of our founding fathers, those last of us who are still trying to cling to that and to our faith, our biblical faith, this is the last man that should be leading us. The absolute last man. I used to think he had some sense about him. Now I don't.
I mean, it's not gone with everybody, but I mean, in the cities, you really see it. It's like the people who built this are long gone and their descendants have fled and they don't care enough to keep it going. There's just a lack of self-respect that is disgusting to me, and I have contempt for it. It doesn't bother me to be hated. What really bothers me is when people hate.
If it doesn't bother him to be hated, why is he talking this way? Why isn't he pointing fingers and calling names? I despise people who say one thing while they are actually in the process of demonstrating that their words are a lie. He's doing that right here. He's begging for you to understand me. He's being an apologist for Tucker Carlson. And in the process, he's actually attacking Zionism and white folks. Folks, those are the same thing. What? You're going to have to study with us on Fridays. But those are the same thing. And I don't mean skin color. I'm not talking skin color. I'm talking spiritual warfare. The Judeo-Christian West and Zionism are two ends of the same stick. And he's attacking both here. And he's being deferential to the negation in the process. He's going to be deferential to Islam. Islam is literally antichrist. Keep going.
Themselves. If you hate if you hate yourself, how are you going to treat me?
That's correct.
Oh man, I don't like it. So I notice it because I travel outside the Western world, the white world. I'll just be honest, the white world.
The white world. It's the Judeo-Christian world. Why do I say that? Because Australia and New Zealand are not in the West. And they're part of the Western world. That's Judeo-Christian. That's what he's attacking. But he had to frame it in the white world. Well, I got a little news flash for you there, Tucker. What color are the people in Israel? By and large, the Jews look white. Well, those aren't real Jews. Yes, they are. They have the same DNA bloodlines as the people in Persia, Iran, Have you seen the pictures of the people in Iran? Go back and look at pictures in Iran from when the Shah was still in office. It could have been the 70s in America for all you would have known. Iran means, Aryan in Farsi. It means white guy. Well, it's because it's the same bloodlines. If you go back through the Bible, these are the same bloodlines. These are the same people. But spiritually, they're different. It's a spiritual difference. And Tucker is focusing his accusations at the people who share the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, faith and allegiance to him. And he's deferring to everybody else who's in opposition while calling himself a Christian. Let's keep going.
I travel a lot in the Middle East. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm not Muslim, obviously. In fact, I'm like a Christian, flat out Christian.
Could his words convict him in a court of law for being a Christian? Does he ever mention the Bible?
He didn't say he was a Christian. He said he was like a Christian.
Yeah.
And if you continue listening to him, he's going to tell you that he's a Christian of lineage, just like the Pharisees said, we are sons of Abraham.
And that's because evil will boast. He is in the grips of a spiritual.
My ancestors are from Europe, and so I have nothing in common on that level with the Gulf. But you go to the Gulf, and it's incredible to be in a place that has pride in itself, that believes in its religion and culture, that thinks.
Okay. Islam does not have tolerance for anybody. He's going to say otherwise in a minute. I'm going to explain to you why he's just flat wrong. And I don't know if he's just fooled or lying. But Islam has no tolerance for anything other, even Saudi Arabia, even the Muslims in this area he's about to talk about. And I'll explain to you in a minute what's going on here. And I can say this with absolute certainty. I'll explain why he's made so many. Nothing about that's coming out of his mouth right here. It's his opinion, but none of it is factually true.
We're on to something, and this is great. Look at what we're doing. We're really proud of this. Those people are happy. They're welcoming of others. They're tolerant of diversity. Like we always talk about tolerant of diversity. There's none of that here. Are you kidding? All the whites, we love black people.
So when I was over there, if you're not Islamic, if you're not a Muslim, you have to live in your own little camps. They were called Aramco camps. And they had walls, 12-foot walls around them, so that the Muslims didn't have to see you when you weren't working. This part of the world is segregated, except in the areas he's talking about, Bahrain and Qatar. We'll get to that in a minute. But the rest of these people he's talking about, there's no tolerance there. There's none. Okay. But think of it this way. Bahrain and Qatar, that's the Las Vegas of the United States. This is where faithful Muslims go when they want to whore and drink alcohol and gamble and do everything Muhammad said they can't do. They go there for vacation so that they can take a vacation from their religion. Then they go back and they have to live in the area where if they did those things in the rest of the Middle East, they'd be killed for it. How is it he doesn't know this? I'll explain in a minute.
Then they run and move to Bozeman because there are no black people.
Absolutely. Send their kid to the...
They hate diversity.
They hate it.
And
he's talking about the liberal left. Why doesn't he say that? Why doesn't he say that? Because he doesn't want to alienate his big tent he wants to build. He's saying the things you know. And this is one of the things Steve Dace points out. There's a lot of truth in what Tucker's saying, but there's a lot of deception in it as well. He's saying what you're going to agree with. But notice he doesn't point the fingers at who. Well, that's the same tactic as we're 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. Look where that got us. Transformed. He's doing the exact same thing.
Our version of it isn't working at all. At all. So, but you go to a country like Japan or the Emirates or Qatar or Saudi Arabia, and you see that when people are self-confident, when they're really...
Japan self-confident? He doesn't know Japan at all. He doesn't know Japan at all. And if he thinks Japan is succeeding, he hasn't been paying it. I've told you about the problems Japan's having right now for the same reasons we're having them. So he's wrong. He's factually wrong.
Pleased with what they're doing, and they believe that their system is the right system. That self-confidence results in a
arrogance,
welcoming attitude. So you'll be sitting at dinner in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
He's about to lie to you. In Riyadh, he's going to lie to you here in a minute. I'll explain to you in just a second, but trust me.
And you'll say, I'm really kind of pro-Jesus. Like, I'm a Christian. They'll be like, oh, that's so great.
And they don't have.
No, they won't. They will if they're lying to you. Remember, Takia, they can lie to you. They might say that. Or they might say, well, yeah, we believe in Jesus too. They don't believe he's the Messiah. They don't believe he's the Son of God. They don't believe that he was crucified, died, was buried, and rose again. They don't believe any of that. So you can believe in their Jesus. They'll be happy with you on that. But if you actually tried to proselytize in Riyadh, you're going to be in Chop Chop Square that Friday, and they're going to cut your head off. They still do that in Riyadh. I know this is a fact. So he's lying. What they're doing is fooling him. And he doesn't know enough about Islam to understand this. So he's being a useful idiot to Islam. And he's making them sound great here in this video. I cannot explain to you as a believer how appalled I am at this man right now. Because there are people who are going to listen to him and not understand the lies he's telling. So we've got a little ways left to go. Charlie, let's take a 3-minute break for those who need to take it. We'll come back. We'll finish this video. Just going to take a 3-minute top of the hour break. We'll come back and we'll finish this. All right, we're back. We're just going to keep going for the interest of time here. Let's see what he has to say next.
Have the same.
Well, they mean it.
Yeah, they don't have the same belief.
No, they're
in some cases.
Muslims.
They're Muslims.
It's a country
yeah.
governed by Sharia law.
Right.
I mean, and they're like, that's great.
Good for you.
Sharia law. It's illegal to be a Christian. It's illegal to be any other religion. Oh, the tolerant Saudis in Riyadh, capital of Saudi Arabia. He just told you they're tolerant. It's illegal to be another religion, and it's illegal to leave Islam. If you leave Islam, they will kill you. They will. If you proselytize a different religion, they'll kill you. And that's tolerance, according to Tucker.
Yeah.
It's great. And you notice like in ISIS or Al-Qaeda or like the Muslim extremists, they're all from like collapsed, pathetic societies dominated by colonial powers. They've been degraded.
All right, right there. That's Obama speak. Colonial powers. Read white Christian Europeans and maybe the United States. That's what he's saying. Colonial powers. And that means that the colonial powers destroyed the nations where these violent Muslims are coming from. That's a lie, but not entirely. The problem you have in the Middle East right now was instituted by the British. Sir Lawrence of Arabia, he did this on purpose. This is realpolitik. This is the Fabian socialists at work. This is your secular humanist ideology at work. Divide the borders up in such a way that within the borders of each nation you create, you have ethnic rivalries. So these people will be too busy fighting amongst themselves to fight us. And that's exactly what the English did after World War I. It was on purpose. Now, they made promises to these people. They lied. So there's a hatred of the West within this area, these Muslim lands, because of the way we treated them. Yes, he's correct about that. He is. But he's also saying that it's because of these powers that, well, that these violent people are attacking us. No. Muhammad said that he was victorious with terror. Islam was a dying religion that had no traction until Muhammad said, okay, you are now allowed to steal anything you want. You get to keep 80% of it. You give 20% to me. You can have all the women you take prisoner. You can sell slaves. You can have the little boys if you want them. And if you die in the process, you immediately go to heaven. Boom, Islam exploded. And he says that you succeed with terror. That's in the Quran. It's in the Hadith. So these people are not perpetrating their religion because of socioeconomic destruction by the white Western world. Does that not sound like something that the liberal left would tell you? That's because Tucker is now speaking for the liberal left under the guise of a Christian conservative. That's the voice of the snake. That's the voice of the serpent right there, boys and girls. I know Islam. I've studied it. I know it as well as our own founding fathers.
Maybe I should let the snake collar come through.
Yeah, let the snake collar on. But Tucker is speaking for Islam right now. He says, oh, no, I'm a Christian.
That's why they're so angry. Mm-hmm. Right? So there's something.
They're not angry. They're not angry. They are advancing their own religion.
Into a violent nutcase extremist. You're seeing a lot of violent nutcase extremists in our country. Not surprising because the country's.
All right there. Got to stop that again. That's what because you've been upset, that turns you into a violent nutcase extremist. The nice people in Saudi Arabia are very tolerant. How many of the people in 9/11 were Saudis? Oops. Yeah, that's right. 3/4 of them were Saudi Arabians. What nationality was Osama bin Laden? Oops. Saudi Arabian. Were they doing well, proud of their heritage? Tucker lied to y'all. Just flat out lied. He lied. He's promoting Islam in the name of Christianity. Continuous worldview. It's not their fault for being violent. That's the environment they grew up in, Natasha. Yeah, and that's what he's espousing.
Being degraded.
Correct.
So in a country with self-confidence, people are tolerant and open-minded and happy.
Remember, he just said that Saudi Arabia, where we got Osama bin Laden and the 3/4 of the 9/11 hijackers.
And in a country where people are told to hate themselves, they start to hate others. Duh. This is all like very obvious, but I only know that because I've traveled a lot.
The Arabs that live in Israel are not told to hate themselves. The Palestinians are not told to hate themselves. The people in Gaza and Lebanon are not told to hate themselves. And that's yet where you're getting the violent Islam out of, according to his terms. No, they're told to hate the Jews and the Christians. So that's where they say that this is coming from. They're told to hate others, not themselves. That doesn't hold up to his paradigm.
And I am naturally open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just because you don't do it my way doesn't mean it's bad. Like, I really feel that way.
Okay, if he's naturally open-minded, then why is he so critical of the whites and the Judeo-Christian way? Oh, because nothing's working. Because you're telling, why doesn't he focus on the people? If he's open-minded, why doesn't he call this out? He doesn't care about being hated, so why doesn't he point fingers? He's in the process of doing the opposite of what he claims to be doing. This is masterful progressive propaganda. This is the voice of the serpent. I'm going to speak nice, soothing words to you while I'm in the process of lying to you. And if you don't know the world better than he does, you'll fall for this type of garbage. And that's what this is. This is garbage. And he would tell you, I'm teaching you to hate. No, I'm not. I'm teaching you to be wise as a serpent, innocent as a dove.
They're into things that I'm not into, like, I don't know, polygamy or Islam. And I can sort of look at it and be like, no one's forcing this on me. I'm not mad at you for being a...
Okay, so if you're a Christian, if you actually are, rather than like or come from, why would you say, oh, well, I'm okay, live and let live with godlessness? Because Islam is godlessness.
Polygamist. I think it's really hard.
Yeah.
But whatever, leaving that aside, but I can go to a place like that and I don't feel like I need to judge everybody on their local customs. I just don't feel that need. But in the process of doing that, like, you get perspective on your own society, and the core problem is a loss of faith in our people, in our values, in our religion. You just don't believe anything.
Now, why don't they believe it? Because nobody's stood up to them in a long time. Now, that's where you and I get in trouble. Because unlike our founding fathers who had the courage of their convictions, like Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death, we give into this. We've become cowardly people. I honestly can tell you right now, without shred of doubt, I would rather die than live in the world they're making. I would. I don't want no part of this world. It's evil. I would have to give my hand to it just by living. I don't want any part of that. I get it. But nobody wants to legally step up and do that. In my state, I need DeSantis to secede and to call for the militia to form. I'll be in the militia. I'll be there. He's not going to do this. There's no way in shaping God's green earth that I could run for office and push this. It's not that I could try. I know exactly what would happen. I need somebody who actually is a statesman. I'm not a statesman. I'm a soldier. I'm not Patrick Henry. I can speak like him, but I belong in the field with the rifle, leading the troops. That's my role. We don't have anybody like DeSantis who actually believes any of this stuff. So we can't do anything about this. And he is acting as an apologist for these folks. And he's not pointing at who did this. The ideology behind all of this, it's not the part and parcel of all of the Americans. And to the extent right now that I isolated it, it is a minority of white folk, the rich, liberal, self-appointed elite whites, the idle rich. Yes, the same people who started socialism and fascism and all of that and the envious and the greedy. But who are their soldiers? Old white women and people of color. Not Americans of color. People of foreign countries who will not assimilate or accept our culture, who've come here just to live off of it, to leech off of it. Lawlessness from the South Americas, Islam from the rest of the world, by and large. Locust. And I can't say that. If I do, I'm a racist. I'm not focusing on their skin color. A lot of white Muslims in the world. Islam is not a skin color. The lawlessness of South America is a culture, not a skin color. It's a culture. It's a culture that does not build, but destroys, consumes. We've got a group of liberal, self-appointed white elites who have opened our borders to these folks because they cannot get elected without them. And Tucker's blaming that on the traditional Western culture. It isn't the Western culture. What has happened is decades of being pounded and sold slop by the media and the entertainment industries and the school system and the judiciary forcing it down our throats. And this is a process. This is a spiritual taking over of this land, of the people. See, it's not as much skin color or culture as it is spiritual. Has Tucker mentioned that? Has he mentioned the spiritual just once in this conversation? If you call yourself a Christian and you have a conversation like this where you don't bring up the spiritual and you point to the Father and you acknowledge him and the gospel, his way of doing things, his law, his Torah, are you a Christian? Could I convict you in a court of law?
Care what you tell me, like, I'm noticing that New York City has people shitting on the sidewalk or having sex in ATM vestibules, and people are dying of drug ODs on the street in there.
That's because you got a man who doesn't want the police or ICE or any form of civil order running New York City. He's a Muslim. And by the way, if you think that's not Islam, I landed in Saudi Arabia, Persian Gulf, 3 a.m, got off the airplane, and the first thing we were met with was Hakeem out there in the field with his little skirt hiked up, taking his left hand, slinging his feces off of his butt as he wiped his butt with his hand. That's Islam. You doubt me? I was there. I saw it. Even had one of the brothers in our unit, I can still remember it to this day, went, "Ew, we are definitely not in Kansas anymore, Toto." Made the whole unit kind of laugh. 3 a.m, that's how I got greeted in Saudi Arabia. The tolerant, great, cultural, proud Saudi Arabia. And now he's saying, well, these are the types of things that are going on in the streets of New York City run by a Muslim who doesn't want the police or ICE, who wants all sorts of illegals in there. It's culture. It's culture. And your culture is spiritual.
A carjack is, you're telling me it's thriving. I was just there. It's not.
It's not
I don't
thriving.
care what stats you throw.
That's a stab at Trump
according
right
to the
there.
American Academy
Right
of
here.
Bullshit, it's actually the best it's ever been. Really? I was there last week. It's not. All I'm saying is let's treat the people who run the banks, the people who are getting rich from usury, like the criminals they are, and make them suffer, because that's totally fair. If you exploit and destroy people, you're not a good person, and we should just say that. And
Okay, I will. Tucker Carlson, you're not a good person. You're exploiting and destroying people for clicks. You're not a good person. You've lied to him in this video, misrepresented the truth, avoided the truth. You have spoken of Islam in such a glorious way and the Judeo-Christian white West in a derogatory way without saying that. Because if you did, you know that you'd turn your Christian audience off. I'm going to show you what he's doing here in just a minute. I'm going to use something else. I'm going to share it with you. But I have a problem. He's about to go on and say that we should just take a holiday from paying our bills to the banks. He's right in one sense, in this sense that, and this is why it's dangerous. Yes, the banks have acted lawlessly and they do exploit people, but who made it? Who made the laws to allow them to do that? Who made those laws? Oh, yeah, that's right. The politicians. Who elected those politicians? Oh, yeah, crap. That's us. Okay. So whose fault is it? He's blaming those folks for stuff that, as nominally in our country, is actually our fault. All right, let me show you what told you I was going to share with you right here. Revelation 13, verse 11 and 12, NASB translation. Then I saw another beast, a kingdom, an organization, coming up out of the earth. Earth here, the people, mankind, comes up out of humanity. And this beast had two horns like a lamb. That's the imagery of the Messiah. And he spoke as a dragon. That's the devil. I'm a Christian, while you're busy praising Islam. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast. That's the beast of Satan. That's Satan's kingdom. In his presence, in the presence of Satan. And he makes the earth, mankind, those who live on it, worship the first beast, worship Satan, whose fatal wound has healed, the head wound, whose kingdom had been killed and comes back. That's the voice of Christianity bringing Islam back to life after it was destroyed by the Christian Western world in 1924. It's when we destroyed the Ottoman Empire after World War I. I am firmly convinced that that is an accurate understanding of that prophecy. Tucker's doing it. The Pope is doing it. Barack Obama did it. He spoke as a Christian while he was actually behind the Arab Spring, trying to bring the caliphate back to life. This is the nominally Christian world trying to get people to believe that Islam is just a different branch of Christianity, same God. It's not. It's not. It's Antichrist. And this is all to turn against the Jews. Well, Joe, the Jews denied Christ as Messiah. No, they don't. What? They deny that the first coming was the Son of God and that he was crucified and resurrected. Yeah, John says that's Antichrist. They still believe in the same Messiah. They just believe in the king, the warrior king. They believe in David, the son of David, not the suffering servant. Now, when you read the Apostle John about Antichrist, yeah, they've got a problem. But Paul tells you that God only condemns you for what you know. And if you'll read the Gospels when they're crying, crucify him, let his blood be upon us, we're told in those Gospels that God blinded them. Yahweh blinded them. They didn't see what they were doing. You can't be held accountable for what you don't know. But at the same time, they were calling down his blood upon them. Now, let me ask you something. If the blood of the Messiah, if you willingly call it down on yourself, does it not cover you? Even if you were total rebellion on Exodus, if you were in a house with the blood of the sacrifice over your door, did the angel come in and kill you anyway? No. Does the scripture say that Judah is ever thrown away and cast aside or replaced by Christians? No. Does the scripture say that the Christian church is a Gentile church? No. There's no such thing as a Gentile believer. What? Joe, you're black. No, I'm not. You have to be grafted in. Once you're grafted in, you are no longer a Gentile. Gentile means you're of the nations. The nations are under demonic control, under Satan's control. Paul says that once you're grafted in, the blood transfers you from this kingdom, Satan's kingdom, to the spiritual kingdom, the Messiah's kingdom. You're in his kingdom now. You're not a Gentile anymore. If you still hold to being a Gentile believer, you're trying to be a pagan Christian, exactly like Tucker was doing. That's not going to help you. That's the man that makes it into the wedding without the wedding clothes. You have not been washed clean. You're still clinging to the past. You're not a new man. You get kicked out of that wedding supper. So once you become part of the kingdom, you are Zion. So if you're going to be an anti-Zionist, okay, don't cry when you get counted with your father, Satan. Now, that doesn't mean everything that a house of Judah does is going to be lawful or within God's commandments. It's not, any more than this country is, any more than any Christian country is, because we are rebellious, stiff-necked, sinful people. But it does mean that you are still Yahweh's chosen. He didn't choose a race or an ethnicity. He chose a heart. And the devil doesn't make war against those with a name upon them. He makes war against those who obey the commandments of Yahweh. Now, you're not earning your salvation. That's not it. You didn't earn the blood of the Lamb over the door. Well, Joe, it said that was in Exodus. Never once tells you to put the blood over your door again after that. It says you partake in the sacrifice by sharing in the bread and the wine of the meal. And that's just symbolic. That's not continuity. It's just symbolism. The thief on the cross didn't get a chance to do any of that. It's a heart thing. Tucker just demonstrated he does not have the heart of a believer. Tucker just demonstrated to me he doesn't have spiritual eyes to see the truth. And he, like Taralenko or whatever the heck that guy's name is, there are all these people claiming to be Christians that are teaching people to break the commandments of Yahweh. I'll know them by their fruit. If they teach you to violate the Creator's laws, they are not of the Creator. And that's why our country's in trouble. We've turned our back from him, and we're doing exactly like they did in Jeremiah, like what we've been reading on Wednesdays. They're calling on Yahweh while still praying and keeping worship of their Baals. So Tucker's going to claim to be a Christian while he's praising Allah and Allah's people. And oh, by the way, Bahrain and Qatar, Aramco is the oil company of Saudi Arabia. If you read up on it, you'll see it's the largest oil, Saudi Arabia, nationally owned. I was there. Aramco was built by Westerners. I'm pretty sure that what happened is Saudi Arabia nationalized the BP and American Oil and all these people at some point in time. They just took it, turned it into Aramco. I was there. I saw the construction. If you pull the Western world out of Saudi Arabia and especially out of Qatar and Bahrain, they collapse. They collapse. They were built by colonialism. So where Tucker was saying that colonialism leaves ruin and terrorism in its wake, the Middle East was built on colonialism. It was the Western world that built it. It's the Western world that still sustains it. I've seen the way they live. They can't even fix a clutch cable on a brand new car. That's how we were driving around in a 1-year-old BMW when we were there, a white one, 2-door sports car. Clutch cable broke. A cable. So they parked it on the side of the road and put a big old X on it with masking tape. It got picked up on a Friday, taken to the dump, and left there. Because they can't fix it. They didn't have enough foreign workers to do the work. Oh, also, Saudi Arabia pays everybody, last I heard, it was $14,000 a year, and makes sure gas is, like last I heard, is under 14 cents a gallon. And that is so that they don't have a revolt and overthrow the royal family. Everything's so great and rosy there. Tucker doesn't understand a damn thing. But, he travels the world. I've been there too, Tucker. You don't know jack about what was around you. You fell for the lies. And yet, somehow or another, he and Candace Owens and others are very likely to end up leading the new right-wing party or destroy what's left of the right. We're going to end up with a Democratic Congress and Senate. They're going to destroy what's left of the founding fathers in this country. We're going to have a one-party country. And you're going to end up waking up in a communist nation simply because nobody wanted to find the courage to push a movement to secede while we still had a chance. And by the way, I've looked at some scenarios on that. The South right now, most of the wargaming says we could survive that. We could actually win it. Costly, bloody, yes. But I've actually been looking for wargaming on that, and we could probably succeed. Probably could. And more than likely, when it was all said and done, we could probably divide the country. We'd take the grain belt, Midwest, most of the South, a couple of other small states here and there. It would be one continuous body, and it would end up being the Northeast and the West Coast. And most of the wargaming says that after the South wins the fight, China takes the West Coast. That's going to provide us a problem, but they'll move in and take the West Coast. Canada succumbs to China as well. In the Northeast, it's a little bit of a hellhole, but it'd probably be ground central for Islam. But at least in the next couple of generations, the South could, if it was willing to pay the price, preserve the Founding Fathers' ideal. And we won't, because we're not willing to pay the price. Charlie, you want to tell us how great the show was today?
I enjoyed this show so much. It is now my favorite show ever.
You want to tell us the truth now?
Oh, I was imitating Tucker Carlson.
What is that?
Oh, it's a phone over here doing some stuff, but yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Any comments? Natasha says my
no.
sarcasm meter just broke.
It was, yeah. Be quiet.
Oh, for those of you who don't already do so, I strongly recommend listening to Steve Deace. The last principled voice of reason from the right on the airwaves. In my opinion, he is a believer. He's Christian, and his co-host is a Catholic. He and his producer are Protestants. But at least they just got done doing a study on the book of Romans. Took them months to do it, but they were studying the book of Romans from a Christian perspective. But they're reading the word, literally reading the word. And for the most part, sound reasoning. They're trying to live it as best they understand it. So, and then they comment a lot like we do. So if you're looking for political commentary, I highly recommend his show. That's just me. All right, Charlie, anything before we get out of here?
I think we've done enough today. Oh my gosh.
Have we gotten any strikes on Facebook or YouTube yet? All right, we'll get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow with Genesis again. Probably be in chapter 7, 8, and 9, story of Noah. And then Wednesday, we're in Jeremiah again. I don't think we'll have a special show on Wednesday this week, just Jeremiah on Wednesday. And then Thursday will be the Bible Amongst the Myths. And Friday, we'll be back in the Scepter and the Birthright. So we thank you for being here. I'm not even going to ask you to like the show or share it. You will or you won't. How's your battle going? Got it figured out? I'll address that tomorrow, Marianne. But yes, I do, and things are better. I fell into my own trap I tell everybody to avoid. I walked right into it. Should have known better, and I still did it. I'll explain tomorrow, but everything's good again now. We're good. Everything's fine. I'll explain. So until we see you again, that's all I'm going to say. We love you. We thank you for being here. And until next time, Shabbat Shalom. Bye-bye. Well, Shalom. Bye-bye.